I need a miracle every day.
All right, this is how we're starting today's show. This is how we're starting today's show on a miracle high, apparently.
Hell yeah.
What is up, people?
What is going on? A miracle high, a coffee high.
Regretfully, Mike Frank with eXp Realty, Frank Oliver Collective, here to talk with
What does that
Christian
even
Olson,
mean?
back from the Dead concert.
Concerts.
How many did you go to? 3?
5 shows. Well, like 7 shows, 8 shows, something like that, but 5 different locations.
Oh, okay.
Virginia, New York, Colorado, Washington State, and San Francisco.
All for the Grateful Dead's last hurrah.
Well, Dead and Company, but yeah.
What does that mean?
So some of the remaining guys from the Grateful Dead and then Company. So like John Mayer plays with them. And a couple other people from the jam band community, like Oteil Burbridge and Jeff Chimenti.
But like they're done.
With that lineup, yeah. Well, here's a theory, right? People think they're going to come back, not as Dead and Company, but Dead and Friends, because contractually they had another drummer, but he stepped away due to, I think, like an injury, maybe. But I think there was some kind of like differences between him and Bobby, the lead singer. So contractually, I don't think they can go on as Dead and Company anymore. So if they were to come back, it would be a different lineup and different name.
So they'll be Dead and Friends.
Well, that's just an example. I don't know what else they'd be called.
And they'll play country music?
All my friends.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll start branching out. I doubt it, though.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right.
I really wanted to wear tie-dye, but like now that I'm back to business today, like I wanted to wear tie-dye for the podcast, but I was like, you know what?
Back to business.
I'm on the grind now. So like, white shirt, some cool pants.
I mean, I'm about it.
I literally just look like Mike Frank with a little bit longer hair. And
I didn't have the energy today. My back hurt a little bit, so I'm still nursing this injury from Saturday.
What happened?
I don't really know.
Was it from Saturday or was it when we were playing basketball in the pool?
It could have been.
I was sore as fuck the next day. Not gonna lie.
It could have been from that.
I was not.
That would make a lot of sense.
Okay, so
it didn't bother me until
you guys have seen Kicking and Screaming, right?
Yes.
So me and John basically made up our team. It was like from Kicking and Screaming, that tall guy and the little like Asian kid partnering together.
Yes.
And just dominating. That was literally me and John.
And by dominating, you mean that you guys just won because John's a better basketball player.
So I'm the best passer. All right. I would feed the ball to John. John would just overpower everybody else.
It's
right?
like the end of the season. You guys ended your season, and now you're having your like post-season review, and he's getting like what do you call those? The awards that are stupid and superlative award. That's fucking Christian
best
right
passer.
now. There you go.
That's
Let's
how you
give
score.
a round of applause for Christian.
I think they call that person the playmaker, right? Or like I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that. You got to ruin it. Come on, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were talking about ways to capitalize on the summer market and the booming market that's happening right now. And every single person that I've talked to, I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations even in your travels that are like, oh, what are you doing with the real estate market? It's going to be a bad market. I'm waiting until the market crashes, or like whatever their negativity would ensue.
I think I don't know. Right now, I don't think there's as much negativity. I think people are starting to come to this realization, like, this is what it is. And they're trying to figure out different solutions, or they're more open-minded.
I think that hits on what we talked about last week, which is that the people that are moving because they have to. Like, life change is happening, family change is happening. They just want to stop renting. Like, there's a purpose and a reason. And those people are coming to that realization. But there's people like I was out this weekend with people that were like, I don't want to buy. I don't want to invest. I don't want to do anything right now because I want to buy when the market's high and the interest rates are low, or buy when the market's low.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can give you 75 reasons why that's not true, but I can't talk you out of your mindset.
No, that is the biggest battle. Like, it's almost impossible to talk somebody out of the mindset. All you can do is like provide them these resources and data and solutions, and it's up to them to pretty much take it and run, right? Like, one of my clients, Carrie
Underwood, the singer.
Okay, no, that would be cool. She's my client.
I do know who you're talking about.
So she came to me recently, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about buying another property." And when she had bought her home down in Lusby, I think we were talking. I think she has like a 2.9 rate. It might be a little bit over 3. Don't quote me, but it's very low. And so we've been having this conversation of like taking her property there, renting it out for, again, kind of like my TikTok video. I don't know if you saw it or Instagram, but like renting it out for $3,000, and her mortgage payment might be $2,000 or $2,500. But you take that difference and apply it to your new mortgage, so it's a little bit more comfortable and manageable.
It's like reverse house hacking. The intention wasn't to do it, but now you have it, and you're like, hey, I might as well take that $500 and apply it towards my higher interest rate that I'm going to take today. Yeah. But I'm going to get a better house, a bigger house for myself, or maybe accomplish that goal to get a garage that I couldn't afford in my first house. You know what?
That's how you fight the interest rate scaries.
Yeah. Fighting the interest rate scaries. It's kind of funny because I'm like reading the blog, right? I'm reading Liv's blog, and it's like leveraging technology and data. And it's got a lot of good information that's powerful and so on and so forth. Exploring off-market opportunities, negotiating wisely. Like these are all, I guess, like real estate button points. The game we played last week was you have to give somebody a reason to buy without using a real estate term, right? So you can't say house hacking. You can't say equity. You can't say...
Are you trying to like make my brain just crumble?
Bro, it was so funny. And some of the content, like if you didn't listen to it from last week, Andrea was on the show, and it was fucking wild.
So you have to give a person a reason to buy without using a real estate term.
Well, and I don't think, Liv, do you remember what we talked about last week? I don't even remember what it was. It was like, you have to say something without using a real estate term. And the things that she came up with. Yeah, it was like why you should, picking the right agent. It was picking the right agent, but you can't use a real estate term. So you can't be like, picking the right real estate agent. It's important to be a market expert. Like you can't say that, right? You couldn't say picking a real estate agent that had years of experience. Like you can't say those things.
What about trust?
So that's where it went to. It was like this. It was like this rapport and trust and conversion and conversational analysis and comfort. And it was so interesting. In the same way, now we're going to do the same thing. Why should somebody buy a house today fighting, what do we call it?
Interest rate scaries.
Capitalizing on the booming market. Right? It's a mountain that we're climbing, not a cliff that we're falling off of. But why should somebody do it against the interest rate scaries, but no real estate talk? It is so tough. Tough.
Man.
But it's like relatable. So I'm going to give one, right? Why somebody should buy in today's market without using real estate talk. We're not talking about equity. We're not talking about rental growth. We're not talking about value. But here's what we are going to talk about. Dream, right? Like everybody dreams about being wealthy, growing opportunity. And it's been proven time and time again that the creation of wealth is done through real estate.
It's been, since
America
started.
Everyone will say it. Even Warren Buffett will say that the reason that he wanted to invest in real estate and get started with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of America, or whatever he calls it, is because he wanted to get involved in something that he believes foundationally in. And he wants to show other people the way that they can do it. And by putting a sign on every street corner, it demonstrates how great his company has become.
There's been one thing that we've talked about before. You know, like how I say like people are trying to treat the real estate market like it's the stock market, like almost flipping, making quick 50 grand. That's not necessarily right. But also I thought I had a realization actually, like coming down the stairs here and about to hop on. I was like, why aren't people treating it like the stock market? Like you buy a stock regardless of the price and you hold. Okay. You just hold it for a while and let it grow and see how much, I don't want to use the term equity because it's not really what you use stock market, but like you purchase a stock in hopes that maybe one day it's going to grow, and then you can cash out on your investment.
Oh,
it's essentially the same thing.
So
like the way that you look at it, I think, like you could buy real estate, flip it immediately, whether it be just cashing out 50 grand or actually literally doing a flip, whatever it may be.
Breaking the rules.
Well, I don't know if we're still playing the game.
Yeah, right.
So, but then again, like you could also treat it as the stock market, and you can just buy and hold.
And I think that's a good argument, right? Like, why to buy in today's market is because it's a stock,
right?
Right. It's an investment.
It could totally be.
As you said it, I reminded myself of the very first stock that I was ever aware of. My brother got stock for a birthday or a holiday or something when he was, older than me, but young. And they bought him Ben and Jerry's stock. And I got really mad because I was like, I like ice cream, right?
Okay.
But my brother's name is BJ. So they bought him the stock that was like BJ whatever, BJ PC or whatever it was,
Nice.
right? Because it was like his name.
Yeah.
Not because there's like the best stock in the world, not because there's the greatest thing in the world. And I have no idea what's happening with that stock today. But I guarantee you, fucking 25 years later, that stock is worth more than the $3.27 that they bought it with.
Right.
And it was like, because it was an investment, because it was fun, not because it was perfect, not because it was the best opportunity, the most equitable position, but like because it's fun and it's just like, it's a buy and hold.
Yeah.
That's a good reason. I like it.
I think real estate is a little bit more tough for people that aren't in the industry to wrap their head around that, just because it can be you're dealing with a lot more money. Your comfortability and
think about go back to like the idea of just being simple, right? Give people a reason to buy without using a real estate term, because we're onto something. So
dream.
I love dream, fun, or investment, which isn't a real estate term, but like it kind of is.
You're kind of cheating there.
Yeah, I mean,
hit the button. So you have dream. You had, would you say fun? Maybe investment. It kind of goes along with dream, but like your future.
Okay, talk to me about that though.
Just like your family, right? I know a lot of people, they buy a house, so like maybe one day they're gone, that their kids have a place.
I'm actually going to elaborate on future, and I'm going to call it a future portrait. So like imagine if you were painting a portrait of yourself, it wouldn't happen overnight. It might take you a week or a month if you were a really good artist. It might take you a year or 5 years if you were fucking like me, right? And you're like drawing a portrait of like what your future life looks like.
Yeah.
And most people from a very, very young age learn how to draw a house and a firefighter and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of future portrait. You're building for your future. This is what we have been yearning towards as Americans, right?
Yeah.
The other one that could be an F word is family, right? You could be buying for your family.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like people get lost in this idea of buying something, and they start to focus on the real estate words, right? Equity, right? Investment, right? Good value, right? Great schools, right? Like whatever the real estate thing is, right? But they get lost in I'm building a better life for myself and for my family.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it comes full circle. I really love dream. I really, really love that word, because I feel like it's the best reason to buy real estate. Did you get a lottery ticket while you were in California last week?
No. Should I?
Yeah, because somebody in California won $1 billion.
Well, too bad. I feel like $500 million of it's going to be taxed or taken by the state.
Maybe.
It's like, I don't really
I'll
know.
take a $500 million.
$148 was taken by the IRS. I just saw
148.
848.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
They got 438 million.
That's crazy, but I'll take it. I don't even care. I don't even care, right? So typically people buy lottery tickets because the risk reward is such a great investment. It's $2, it's $10, it's $25. It's $100. That person's annoying, but it's $100 investment to win $480 million in cash in a briefcase in your basement, right?
How much of this room do you think that money would take up if you had
interesting factoid. All right. So I learned this last week.
Okay. What did I
took every dollar,
Okay.
and stacked it on top of each other. One, right?
Okay.
This would be, what was it, like $10,000?
I think it was
$5,000 was like this. Every dollar, $5,000.
Like $1 bill.
$1.
Okay.
Right? And so then if you took $1 million, was it $1 million? I think it was $1 million, gets to, or $20 million, some number gets you to what we consider to be outer space and no longer in the Earth's atmosphere.
Holy shit.
So then if you take Elon Musk's net worth
Are you going to the moon?
Around the world, right? He gets all the way from New York to like California and can't complete it. And this dude that said it was like a TikTok. And this dude goes, "Damn, bro, should have worked harder." I was like, fuck. How do you get to that point? I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Holy shit, to the atmosphere. Oh my God, this is going to be nuts. And then it was like, should have worked harder. I was like, fuck. Burn. That dude doesn't have a computer anymore. That shit fried. Anyway, but it's like, if you could fill a room with dollar bills, how many dollar bills would it take to fill an average bedroom? I bet you it's probably 100 grand.
Yeah.
200 grand, like single dollar bills, right? But if you won $428 million, people always talk about what they would do if they won. And it's almost the like uniting thing, or the unification. Bang.
Is that it?
Yes.
That was kind of a shot in the dark.
Sometimes when I'm
honestly.
going, I just like lose my head and I couldn't think of it. So the unification of all the people standing at the lotto machine in the gas station. And I've experienced this quite a few times. There's always some lady that doesn't know how to use her ATM card. There's some couple that doesn't seem like they belong. You know, some addict that might be just like trying to get their one lotto ticket. And I'm about it, right? But the thing is that they all say the same things. What are you going to do with your lotto ticket? And it'll be like dumb stuff like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation, or I'm going to, tell my boss to screw himself, or like whatever. But usually right thereafter is like, I'm going to buy myself an awesome property, right? It's very, very, very quick. And it's what we have been raised to live off of, was like property ownership. So then we have these people that are like renting property, and they're like, I don't want to buy a house because the rates are so high. And you're like, really? Did you dream of being a grunchy old dude when you grew up? Like, did you try to be Oscar the Grouch when you guys played Friends? Like, who did you want to be when you grew up? Because I bet you it started off with a house and mommy and daddy and your dog and a firefighter, right? It didn't start as like, let me be an accountant. Kudos to accountants out there, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I draw a calculator on my house. But it started with this idea, this dream that like, I was going to buy a house. I'm going to create a house. And now today we're like, we don't create houses because we have high interest rate or the market's going to fall. It's like, hey, how much do you want to buy? You want to buy a $300,000 house? You think it's going to be worth $250 next year? Great. Awesome. And you're going to pay how much per month? $2,000 a month? Awesome. And you're going to pay $2,700 in rent while you wait for the market to come down? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's just like, it's a stupid argument. But if you don't dream that you want to dream, you can't live the way you want to live, I guess.
Very well said.
Everything in here is just so crazy. It just goes to that reverse house hacking thing.
So go see my Instagram, Christian the Deadhead, my latest post.
Plugged. Yeah. So let's talk about this. So reverse or accidental house hacking. We're going to call it accidental house hacking.
Yeah.
So you bought a property in 2015 to 2022.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got locked in at a crazy low rate. You'll never believe it. Right? Maybe you refied at some point in time and you got to like the 1.99, 2.49% interest rate, and you're never going to move because you got such a good rate. Right? Why wouldn't you accidentally take advantage of that opportunity? Right? It was an accident that you ended up at that rate in the first place. You didn't set out to get that rate. You didn't put 2.49 next to your little house and a firefighter when you were in kindergarten, okay? It wasn't your intention. It just happened. So now Carrie has this house at 2.49%, and she's going to buy another house for more money, right?
Yeah.
Because the market's gone up since she bought.
Yeah.
All right. And it's going to fall off in the future. Awesome. So she's going to pay $350, $450, $550?
Let's say $350.
$350. Great. And her monthly payment in today's world at a 6, 7, 7.5% interest rate, 6.25% interest rate. I have the best credit ever. 5.99. I don't care. Is going to be what?
Let's say $3,200.
$3,200. And her previous mortgage is
probably, I don't know, $2,200.
$2,200. So she's going to pay $1,000 more. I'm never going to move because I don't want to pay $1,000 more per month because of these high interest rates, right? But instead, she's going to rent that property for $3,000, like you said, right?
Yeah.
She's going to pay some expenses, and she's going to walk away with how much in cash?
From the renting?
From the renting.
Probably Anywhere from 5 to 700.
$500 to $700. So now instead of spending $1,000 more per month, she's only spending $300 to $500 more per month, and she gets that garage that she's wanted, and she gets that walk-in closet that she's wanted. It's like an accident that she ended up with this good interest rate.
Yeah.
So like, let's just leverage it to get to the thing that we want.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I'm out.
If people have a 2% interest rate or 4%, what in that range, like, and you haven't done something like this and you're kind of ready to get back into the market, you know who I also had this conversation with? Wayne Carroll.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because he's still sitting on that house.
Yeah, he still has whatever rate he talked about, like mid two. He's pre-approved now. He got his credit in line. We're actually going out and looking at some homes this weekend. I'm going back to his property, but he was like, "Hey man, I've been kind of thinking about, could I rent and still get money from that rental and have a comfortable monthly payment on my new property, even with his current fixed income?"
Yep.
Like retired military guy. So we were just kind of valuing those options rather than selling, getting rid of the equity that he has built into his property. So I think there's really good opportunity out there, and it's just what you make of it. And if you're not taking that opportunity now, when rates drop, that $350,000 house that you're now looking at that you really want to get, but you won't want to pull the trigger, is going to be $400, $450.
Just letting you know, these things are true.
If you saw the bidding wars and stuff during COVID times and shortly thereafter or beforehand, again, that $350,000 property bidding up to $400. Now that property is already worth $400,000, if not a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So when the rates go back down again to 2% or however low they freaking get, it'll never happen. But if they get even lower, maybe 3%, whatever. Shit, that house now from 400 to 450 higher, like you're smoking crack if you want to pay that.
I bitched at Ryan Curley. Shout out to Ryan, First Home Mortgage here in Baltimore. I bitched at him like a 10-year-old. I don't want that interest rate. And he was like, well, you could buy it down. I was like, fine, tell me what it takes to buy it down. I was like, I want this low rate. Like bitched at him. And now today I'm like, damn. Oh, that's the rate that I took? Like, it was like, it could have been.
Wasn't this for the three, the whatever investment property that was?
It could have been 4.5. And I was like, I don't want 4.5. You better get me lower than that. Like, bitched at him. Paid like whatever the fee was to get down to 4.25, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, somebody give me 4.5.
Right.
I'll give you money.
Right.
Right. Like, I'll give you anything you want. I will sign over the naming rights to my firstborn for 4.5%. Like, seriously, that's the world that we live in today. And it's like, you have these opportunities and you don't even realize it. You're so stupid to realize that today's such a good opportunity to buy that you don't buy and you wait to buy. And you give excuses as to why you don't buy. And then it's just like, bleh, 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 bleh. Speaking of, the only person that's going to be listening to this is going to be my fiance. So at least Amanda.
Hey, what about Jeff Bisker? Come on.
We're going to start picking out every single person that we know interacts with our videos. At least Amanda will hear, we can't just sit there on our equity. We can't just say oh, we have this house that we bought for this much money. We have such a good opportunity. We need to do something with it. Yeah. It's like, if we're going to sell it and invest in other opportunity, great. If we're going to keep it and rent it, great. That's fine. But we can't just sit on it and just wait. We can't hope and wait. Oh, speaking of another hoper and waiter, Brandon Petrie. We're throwing all of our people under the bus today.
I want to hear this one.
This dude fucking bought 2 houses last year. 2.
Really?
The one that you showed him, the one that he bought beforehand.
Okay.
Neither one of them is rented.
So you're just sitting on them?
Just sitting on them. He's got oh, my son is living in one property. Is he paying you rent? No. Oh, I have my friend staying there for the summer from California. Is he paying you rent? No. Well, he's fixing the property. Well, what was happening from January until July? Yeah. Oh, it was vacant. It's like, dude, we have to monetize these opportunities because it's the same. Not monetizing an opportunity is equally as dumb as not buying at a 7% rate.
I feel like at that point, it's just an expense that you have now.
Right. And we get comfortable. We as people get comfortable. So I literally just think to myself, how can I maximize my opportunity? What can I invest in? What can I do with my money that's going to be better than buying a house? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Especially... Stop it. Don't talk to me about the stock market right now. Seriously, we haven't made money in the stock market in the last 10 years. Jokes, right? But we haven't made real money in the stock market in 2 years. Like there's some opportunity to be had. And I know there's people that are having tons of success. Day traders, you can hate on me. It's fine. But I just don't see where you can invest your money and watch it grow in the long run with the consistency and regularity and less stress than real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, hire a good property management company, turn around and wait for people to come into your property and rent it from you and pay down your principal and get a little bit of cash flow and do what Carrie Humphrey's doing. And then boom.
Gang.
And then next thing you know, she's going to refinance that property that she buys today. So her monthly payment won't be $3,200. It'll only be $2,850, right? So now she's not even losing money. And then she goes and does it again. And she's renting the first property for now $3,200 or $3,300 instead of $3,000. And then the second property is renting for $3,300 or $3,500. And she's just getting it again and again and again. It's like accidental house hacking.
Yeah.
Right? And so don't ever talk to me about house hacking unless you're going to say accidental in front of it, and I'll talk to you all day about it. Everybody
well, if you want a
like
house hack, you can talk to me.
Yeah.
And, we'll get you in line with the right shit.
Dude, speaking of house hacking. All right, this guy buys this property in Baltimore 2 years ago, 2021 or 2022. Okay? He buys it for $140,000 or $160,000. Okay. He invests some money. Okay? Some
like into
money.
The property?
Sure.
Okay.
20, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400. I don't care how much he says he invested into it. It needs a full fucking renovation. So
after 2 years,
I don't fucking know what this dude's done, right? It needs an entire renovation. $160,000 to $220,000 in renovation dollars going in, okay? And I'm looking at it going, damn, this is a great deal at $480, $525, maybe $550. Ooh, if we get the market in the right way, maybe $600. And this fucking dude is asking $625. He's like, oh, there's so much opportunity. It's 7,000 square feet and the zip code takes... And then this is how people get screwed.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're looking at. Yes, the zip code says this, and yes, the square footage says that. But what if you worked with a professional that could analyze it and say, this is why it's only worth this much money?
Can we, and I don't know if you're going to be a fan of this, but can we invite Jay Bond to have like a virtual appearance on this podcast? Like
he would be uber virtual right now because he's in Peru.
That listing presentation that he went over one time, was just amazing. Like his pricing strategy and what he was able to earn his sellers. I actually was on my computer today looking over a script and looking over community that I'm trying to target. There's 3 listings right now in there. One has been on for 6 days. One has been on for upwards of 60, 70, and another one's like 34. It's like, why are these homes not selling? There's demand in Calvert County, especially these neighborhoods. It's like, what the fuck are you listening to these agents for if they can't get your property sold? And they're not doing either their due diligence as an owner, and they're just jumping to the first person that says, yeah, I'll list your home for $525, when in reality you need to list it at $500 to even get that number. It's almost the same thing for your rental property that we had the conversation before, whether it was I forget which rental it was. It might have been Tommy's, but do you have it priced at the very top of your rental market? Maybe it was even one of your clients, very top of the rental market, where it only advertises to like a very small amount of people, or do you drop it down a little bit, capture a larger audience, and then you have a million more applications to choose from, because maybe the right tenant isn't at 3,300. Maybe they're at 3,000. So you can apply it to so many different things. But again, I think people right now are just like jumping to, 525, great.
Also this is a market of difference, right? This is a market of difference and change. And what I mean by that is that if I'm a buyer looking in Calvert County and there's 3 listings on the market and they're all priced at, let's just use the numbers, 500, 525, and 535, and I'm looking at them going, because I don't have the rush that I had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So what if we staged the property appropriately? What if we prepared the property appropriately? We listed it and approached the conversation from the position of, we should list at $499 so that we sell for $520. Right? Instead of pricing at $505 with hopes of selling at $520. An example of this, and none better than my client, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because we're actively listing their property right now, but the property is worth $350,000, and it's worth $350,000 in the best scenario, best case, cleanest, prettiest, best paint, everything done. right? The next door neighbor property was renovated and sold for $356,000. And there's properties that are comparing in the neighborhood for $340 to $346, $348, and an occasional $350,000 sale. So we know that $350 is attainable. But I tell him, we're going to price it $335. And he's like, no. And I took the exact same approach. And what I said was, we want to price so low that every buyer knows that we're looking for a bidding war.
Yeah.
We want to price so low that they understand that we're undervaluing the market. And we want to price so low that we don't miss out on any $1 that's going to push our pricing higher. Because what I know about this particular property is if we listed it for $345, it might not sell.
Yeah.
$10,000, but it might not even sell, because what's going to happen is the same 20 buyers are going to come along. The same 20 buyers are going to see it, and then they're going to have difference to it. And they're going to go, I don't think I want to get involved in that. Yeah. Whereas at 335 might get 7 people that go, you know what? This is worth a shot. Let's toss out a lowball offer at 338 and see if I can snag it up, because it's not quite worth what the other ones are. But then the next person that offers 340 with an escalation clause to 345, all of a sudden we get that one offer that's like, 342, and we get 343, and maybe we get 344, maybe we get 345 for a property that has the potential to be worth 350, but in practice isn't. Yeah. And so by taking on this choppy opportunity, you get the chance to say, hey, I'm a professional in the marketplace, and this is why your house isn't selling. This is what we can do to get it sold. But if you can't have that conversation, it really doesn't matter, because once you hit the market, that's the first showing, that's the first opportunity, and people are only going to come in the door because the property looks the price or looks the part, plays the price correctly, and understands the value of where it sits today. And I think that's why houses are sitting on the market for longer, because the listing agent isn't doing their job of educating their seller.
Because right now,
boom,
they shouldn't be on the market for more than, I'm seeing a lot of properties hop off in a week. And if you're 30 days, 60 days, like there's something other than the actual property itself.
I want to challenge that thought and say it's not because it's priced inappropriately.
Well, not the only thing.
But the strategy by which we're approaching the market might play a role. I'm going to use an example. When we have a $10 million property, like the awesome one right down the street from my house. And by the way, if you know anybody looking for a $10 million property, this thing is the tits. It's on the golf course. It's awesome. So call me, right? I'll just retire tomorrow. Anyway, so this $10 million property is priced at the top of its market. There's no question. It is the shit. But it's not going to sell in 2 days. It's not going to sell in 2 weeks. And it's not going to sell in probably 2 months. But that's a part of its pricing strategy. If you took that property and dropped it to $9.5 million, will it sell in 2 weeks? No. If you took that property and dropped it to $6 million, would it sell in 2 weeks? Probably. But if you dropped it to 600,000, it'd probably sell in 2 days, right? It's so far undervalued, and there's so much more competition at the $600,000 price point. So it's going to play a role as to how you're structuring the marketing of this property. It's not something that happens overnight. Yeah. So there might be that one $330,000 house that might take 6 months to sell. Right? That property in Nanjamoy, I'm still talking to that seller because she's upset that it's not happening quickly.
Yeah.
But it's not because the market isn't there. It's because the approach to their marketing isn't in alignment with a longer term to sell. It's going to take a long time to sell this home. You keep giving a listing agent 30 days and taking it off the market. I will not take that listing for a 30-day. Right? You do not have the ability to take it off the market after 30 days because my marketing strategy doesn't seem in alignment with that logic. So I don't really care about days on market. And I didn't care about days on market because everybody's just an uber douche when they go, I sell houses in an average of 3 days. And I go, yeah, in the third day, I get an offer that's higher than any other offer that I've had. So I sell houses in an average of 4 days and now I'm a worse agent. It's just stupid. But when we're talking about 37 days versus 17 days, I can understand the value.
Well, I had a seller come to me and they wanted a specific return on their property, and every seller should want that, right? But I wanted to dive into her neighborhood and some of the statistics difficult word, you know what I'm saying? Stats of their neighborhood, right? And there was only maybe 3-4 properties that have sold, kind of like a new construction community in the past 5-6 years, what have you. But you could see some of the properties that were priced higher, and they had, I don't know, 60, 40, 30, 70 day on market, right? And then I would go down to the actual original list price, previous list price, and just watch the history of it kind of go down. And then you would see one that's priced appropriately, their original list price and the sale price and the days on market. And then I was able to present that strategy to a seller, and then she was able to like, oh,
Yeah.
so like if I price it here at like 500, damn, I'll be able to sell for 530, 535. But then if I list it at 525, I'm not going to get that result.
Right. Well, and in the $500,000 range, it might be tough, but in that neighborhood that you aforementioned, what if you priced it at 490?
Right.
Right. Like you might not get to 535, but what if you priced it at 490 and you got to 517?
Yeah.
That's a win, guys. Like we're looking at this as lost revenue. And the reality is that it's not lost revenue when it's potential earned income. It's lost revenue when you have it and you have to give it back.
You know what we should do? And like, by all means, I'm not a fucking scientist, so if I butcher this, don't hate me. But you know how there's like potential energy and kinetic energy? So like potential, you're sitting at the top of the roller coaster, like gravity, you're going to be going down. Kinetic is like as the act, you're going down.
Correct.
And enjoying the ride.
Correct.
Well, your potential energy is at 499, and then your kinetic energy,
right,
when you're at 530.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's a good analogy. I think my brother could speak to it a lot better, but it'd be real boring to sit here and talk to a physicist. He is a physicist specializing in thermonuclear something.
Is he in the movie Oppenheimer or something?
No, he's a professor at Delaware at the current moment.
Oh, cool.
But he's like, he literally is researching the ability to harness the heat produced from nuclear fusion or nuclear division or something. I don't really know. Very, very, very tiny thing. We break an atom in half. It creates a lot of heat. We harness that heat. We turn it into energy. That's basically what he does. But he's a super nerd and he doesn't have any energy. So he talks like this and he's just like,
yeah, I was just trying to relate this to real estate and I don't really know.
I feel like it would be really great. It would be really great. Let's just have him on the podcast. Maybe we could take a nap during the podcast that day. No, I think that it's really important to understand the market. And if you break it back to like where we started, right? Don't use real estate terms. Just don't use real estate terms at all. Just talk to the seller and say, no.
Your potential energy is this. Your kinetic energy will be that.
But it's like, hey, how are you going to know when you choose the right real estate agent? You're interviewing 3. I'm so thankful that you've had me in here today. How are you going to know when you choose the right real estate agent? They're going to say, oh, market stats and this and that and the other. And I'm going to say, hey, can I share with you how I know when I've connected with the right client? And they'll be like, the fuck? And you're like, look, I know I've connected with the right client when we have the ability to trust each other. The value that you brought me into your home today speaks volume to your consideration of this sincerity, right? But also reality will set in and say, hey, maybe we just don't feel comfortable, right? So we have trust and comfort. And can we communicate effectively? Can I share information and will you be able to receive it and ask me questions? Because that's how we know that we're going to be on the right train. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, what price are you going to list it at? And you're like, oh, well, we haven't had that conversation, but we can go into the pricing conversation if you'd like. And they go, sure, I want to know what price you're going to list it at and what commission you're going to do it for and da, 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 da. And you go and say, hey, here's what I'd like to talk about. We have a couple different pricing strategies, but one that I'm seeing work a lot right now, and I understand it didn't work for you previously, was that you guys were listed for 520 and you have some competition in your community at 535 and 500 and you're not selling. We don't want to accept a penny less than 520. And I would say something like, look, if somebody came in here with a bag full of money and said, we're going to give you 550, wouldn't you take it? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, well, what if they asked for $35,000 in closing cost help? That was only 515. I don't think we accept that at all. But all of a sudden we can start to have a conversation, right? Yeah. And where my mind is going to, do you know where my mind is going to? Where this has happened in the past?
I had it in my head, but now
we went to that house. I don't remember the street address, but it was that couple with the pool in the backyard. They're building the house down on the water in Essex.
Yeah.
And we went to their house and we had such a great conversation, so much information. And she was like, what's the commission you charge? And we talked to her about it and we explained it. And she was like, okay, we'll meet on this day at this time. And and then you followed up 2 days later. And like,
she
thank
gave
you
me
so
like
much.
a call 3 hours later, or texted me. It's like, hey, we're going on with someone else.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to go with somebody else. We don't respect you. We don't like you. We don't... You know what? They still haven't sold their house.
Yeah.
And it's been months.
Yeah.
It's been months. So what if we stopped having the sales conversation and started having the, hey, how are we going to help you? We're going to have consideration. We're going to have empathy. We're going to build a dream for what you're looking for. We're going to paint the picture. What was it? It was
portrait.
The portrait of your future. Right? Like, oh my God, right? And I'm not really encouraging having that conversation. But what if we took to the pricing strategy by starting off with the relationship strategy? Yeah. What if we took to the pricing consideration by starting off with the trust and rapport? And the person that I'm thinking of is the seller over here that I'm not going to throw under the bus, but
I like how you like mentioned like the ability to be able to like throw things back and forth and have a conversation, bounce ideas off of each other, right? I feel like that's very overlooked, and I think that's probably a crucial step in the process. And it's a very like, I don't say difficult thing to understand, but like once both parties understand it, then that goal of like 520, 530 or selling your home at that point is now much more attainable than going down any other route.
Well, and for those real estate agents that aren't listening anymore, I know that we do have real estate agents to listen, but it's been 35 minutes and there's no way a real estate agent has that much time or patience or attention. Their attention span lapsed 20 minutes ago. But for any real estate agents that are listening right now, it makes me think like what we should be doing in our sit-down consultation is asking exactly that. Hey guys, I'm so thankful that you're taking the time to meet with me today. How are you going to know when you've met with the right agent? And they might respond by saying, oh, you're the only one that I would consider. Johnny, of course we're going to hire you. You're my son, right? Like whatever the reason is, but how are you going to know when we get to the right agent that you're going to consider? And they're going to say something and you're going to respond by saying, awesome. I love that for you guys. I think those things are really, really important. Can I tell you how I know when I found the right client? And they're going to be like, what the fuck? Right? Making it into a relationship that's not just a sale and having the client understand why you're there might make the difference between feeling comfortable and confident and prepared to make this giant decision that is buying real estate versus feeling uncomfortable and incompetent.
I would say even like almost creating like a battle between the two.
Definitely with sellers.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel when you start off on that front, it creates such a better opening for, hey, look, we haven't had any showings. We had an open house. We haven't had anybody show up. We haven't dropped the price in a month. The conversation is way more approachable than the conversation that I'm having with one of my sellers right now, which is overprice it, have an open house every weekend, And it's like, that won't convert.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could think that it will, but we can't even have a conversation because we can't go back and forth. And it's just like, all right, well, I'm happy here. Are you happy with this outcome? Like I'm happy. Right? So I just think if you're not having those considerations in today's market, it's not always about winning in the market bubble. It's not always about buying low and selling high. It's about buying because it's the right opportunity and taking advantage to create better equity position for yourself.
Use real estate terms.
Accidental house hacking. Accidental house hacking is what should be on every single owner's plate today.
Yeah.
Every single owner in the world should be thinking about that opportunity to capture that 2.99, that 3.5% interest rate that they were smart enough to get way back when by accident and not give it up in today's world.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys know how to reach us. You can always reach me on Instagram at michael.frank___. And you can always reach us on our website. Make sure you check out our blog at frankoliverco.com/additional resources or something like that.
You can check me out on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead. Message me. My information's there. Shoot me a text.
Bang. Talk to you guys soon.
Deuces.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.